So today the question is being asked, men, if you become a victim of paternity fraud, should you continue to take care of the child, or why would you walk away from the child just because you were deceived into believing that this child was yours? We all know that paternity fraud is a scourge in the United States of America, and dare I say the world. And because it is not illegal, there's no ramifications for this type of deceit, this type of deception. It will continue on for many, many more years and decades, even until there's a penalty behind it. And so this woman here on TikTok, I will leave a link to her video in the description box. She asked the question here, as you see, should a man walk away when his DNA shows he is not the father?
Yes. Yep.
Now, she's going to give the logic as a woman would. Before we get into it, she has a heavy filter on this video and a lot of her videos on her page, to be honest. But she's going to come at this from an emotional perspective, and you can probably guess what perspective that is, right, from my introduction. But she asked a question: should you walk away when you find out it's not yours? All right. Most of you men out there already know the answer, but we're going to watch and see her explanation and breakdown of what she thinks you should do. This is on TikTok, and because it is somebody else's content, I have to give my fair use clause before we get into the reaction. So, fair use.
How can a man walk away from a child that he has been raising for 3, 5, 10, 15 years simply because the DNA test shows that he's not the biological father? Hear me out here. I'm not being insensitive.
Okay, I'm not being insensitive. Hear me out. That usually means you're about to say something insensitive.
Bitch, ain't no way.
Just so.
Ain't no fucking way.
You're about to say something that is clearly going to be disagreed with, but let's continue.
I know that his world has just been turned upside down. I know he feels betrayed. Yep. He's devastated.
Yep.
I empathize. I sympathize with his predicament. However,
do you?
How is one able to walk away from a child that one has bonded with, loved, nurtured, poured blood and sweat into, simply because the DNA test shows that you're not the biological father?
Now, that statement alone is insensitive to the man. And how could you walk away from something that you poured years and tons of effort into? Well, the question should be, how could a woman deceive a man that long with a straight face? How can she have a lack of emotion for what she knows she's doing to this man? Now, we're not talking about people that knowingly, you're a stepdad, you take care of a child knowingly that's not yours, or you adopted, so you already have come into the situation knowing this child isn't yours and things of that nature. That's a different conversation. But these people knowingly are doing this. This particular situation, this man has been deceived completely. First of all, that means that she had to sleep with another man to get this baby in the first place. And so not only has she kept the true nature of the conception of this baby, that is not his, but she's also hiding infidelity. So that makes the deceived man a two-time loser.
Again!
Because not only is he taking care of a child not his, but your woman has also slept with the man in order to get this child that is not yours. Man, where is it?
Bitch, ain't no way. Ain't no fucking way.
But she's going to say she understands. You understand what?
Understand getting rid of the wife or the girlfriend. The word I actually want to use starts with a W and rhymes with shore.
There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house.
That's what she meant to say. So you understand getting rid of the wife. Well, that's first order of business right there, or the girlfriend, whatever. That's first order of business. But what do you do with the child? Which I know what I'm saying isn't completely black and white, especially depending on how much time you've invested in this kid. This answer isn't completely black and white, and I totally can understand that. But depending how early it is in the situation, oh yes, you definitely, that kid is definitely going away.
Yeah, bitch. Yeah, bitch.
Now again, 15, 20 years down the line, you put this kid through college and all those kind of things, and then you find out that it's not yours. That's a different situation that does require some heavy and long-term thought about decision making there. So I get that too. All right. But I mean, in any case, you have to deal with the deception. This is yeah.
Get rid of the W. But the children or the child, the innocent child, it is flummoxing to me. Now, I'm not a man and I do not know how this impacts men.
And therefore, you are probably the wrong person to ask this question because you're not a man and you don't know how it affects men. You're right. Women don't become victims of this, so they'll never know how this feels because you're the one having the kid. So you know it's yours automatically, right? And so you'll never know the feeling of pouring into something and then, you know, it's not like you ran a business and all of a sudden you realize you weren't on the contract, right? You have to do these things prior to even starting these type of endeavors. But a child is different. Most of these men, they're married, right? So they're no long time partners of their woman or whatever or whoever they're with. And so they go into it assuming that that's theirs because they don't expect infidelity. You know what I'm saying? So that makes it even more crushing when it happens. So you don't know what it's like. And really, you're the wrong person to ask this question. If you've made it this far in the video and you're still here, thank you again for your viewership. And if you haven't done so already, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and that notification bell that way you can be notified whenever I go live or drop new content. Also, if you want to donate to the channel, please do so by hitting the Cash App $ Mr. Normie. And you can also go to my Ko-Fi page, ko-fi.com/workingmanmg. Also, I'm trying to build a community on Locals. So if you would, go please check out my Locals page and you can join for just $5 a month. You can post and we can build a community of like-minded working men over there. Thank you for your time. Now back to the video.
I also know that there's deep shame. But were I in that predicament, of course I would be devastated.
And don't worry about what's in the cup because it's not just juice.
I'd be hurt and betrayed. But then I'd let the children know, or the child know. You may not be my biological child, but you're still my child. I love you. You're my child in my heart.
Here we go with the feelings argument.
Nick, you're stupid.
This thing about, okay, well, you're not mine, but you're mine kind of deal, right? Like you're still my kid in my heart. No, you're still my child. Well, no, you're not my child. Most people that look at this from a more emotional, and that's the only way I can put to it at the moment because I don't have the better word, that usually from an emotional standpoint, they're saying, well, because I have time and emotions and thought and things like that invested into this, that I can say you're still mine, quote unquote. Well, most men are going to say, well, the line is, here's the line now. At this point, you're no longer my child. Now, it's my decision now whether I want to continue to still be with you and take care of you and things of that nature. But at this point, you have ceased to be my child. You're someone else's child. That's the truth of the matter. Now, whether I choose to still take care of you as if you were my child, then we can move forward. But you are no longer my child. And that is the heartbreak in the situation. You are no longer my child. And she will never understand that fact that most men, when they find this stuff out, it's like a train hitting a concrete, it's like a car hitting a concrete wall. It stops immediately. The thought process, boom, this is not my child. And then now I have to deal with the heartbreak and everything that comes after that. Much how like women deal with infidelity. When they find out this man isn't totally theirs, they hit a brick wall as well. Now they're like, okay, now what do I do afterwards? Now what do I do now that I know that he likes other women? He's going to sleep with other women. He wants other women. Now he's no longer my man, right? Or he can be my man in a sense. But it's like, you know, it's like yours, you know, the Y is silent. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's everybody's now, really, in a sense. You understand what I mean? Let's continue.
I've bonded with you. I've raised you. so nothing changes.
Huh?
Now, I know a lot of men worry about, oh,
Nothing changes. See, that's that bull.
then I have to continue paying I have to pay child support now that we're not together. So what? I'd pay the child support. Because you know what? Even though everything has changed.
See there. Oh my God.
Bitch, ain't no way. Ain't no fucking way.
She said I have to pay child support. So what? Huh. Let me run that back real quick. She really had the audacity to say, you know what, you and the mom are not together, we gotta pay child support. And see, this is the other thing that men get caught up in with paternity fraud. So now because I've been taking care of this kid, the state is gonna say, well, because you, even though this child wasn't biologically yours, you took care of him X amount of years. So it's almost like, you know, because it's in your care, it's like it's yours now by default. So now I have to pay child support for this kid even though it's not mine. And she's like, well, so what? Crazy.
So what? I'd pay the child support. Because you know, so what? You paying I have to pay child support now that we're not together. So what? I'd pay the child support. Because you know what? Even though everything has changed, nothing should have changed. Because it's still the child that I raised, bonded with, and loved. And in an attempt not to pay child support, one ends up cutting off one's nose to spite one's face.
She's literally advocating for the man to continue to take care of the child once he finds out it's not his. That's exactly what she's doing right now. Like, yeah, it's not yours biologically, but so what? You took care of the kid, so just keep on. This is the old argument that everyone comes up with in the paternity fraud, conversation. That, well, you find out it's not yours, but, you've been taking care of it and he or she loves you so much, just keep doing it. Ridiculous.
You got to look at the big picture.
Big picture.
Relationship with that child.
Yeah.
The continued relationship and the ability to go ahead and raise and nurture that child.
Yeah.
Because you already have that bonded relationship. But once again, because I'm not a man, I do not understand how anybody can walk away from a child. Story time.
So how can you say, well, I'm not a man, so I don't know what it's like, but I don't see how you could do it? So again, you're the wrong person to have this conversation. You're the wrong person to ask this question. You're not a man. You don't understand. You can see it from a woman's perspective because you're always going to be bonded to the kid no matter what, no matter who's the dad or no matter who takes care of it. You're always going to have a bond with this child. So for you, it's like, well, the guy taking care of the kid is just another position. Like I can just hire somebody else, like a job. Okay, well, he's not the father. You can do it, or he's the baby dad, but he's not doing it, so you can do it. It's like, wow.
My husband had a boss about 20 years ago. This gentleman's son had some medical issues. And to make a long story short, he found out that his 19-year-old son was not his biological child. Needless to say, he was devastated. But you know what? He had raised this child for 19 years, was paying for college. This was his son, and he was not.
Okay, again, ladies and gentlemen, this is not his son. But again, because these situations are different, if he's been raising this kid for 19 years, the kid's grown already, he's probably 2 years into college, what is he going to do now? It's not like if the kid was 2 years old, I could walk away. He could walk away now, but I mean, it's the kid's the man's 19 now. So see, this kind of situation is, nah. See, you're using that argument for a boy that's 19 years old to say, why would you walk away? Well, the kid's 19. He probably wouldn't walk away at that point. He's like, well, shit, I'm on the end of it. He's like, well, I only got like 2 more years to pay for college. I might as well just let him fucking finish and be a good member of society. And then I'm going to deal with the mom. I'll get divorced. And you understand what I'm saying? Like this, which I don't advocate doing it either way. I don't advocate taking care of the kid. If he was 19, I would cut him off. But again, that kind of situation that she's talking about is way more complicated. At 19 years old versus 4, 5, 8. You know what I'm saying? Wow.
Not gonna let him go. And my heart broke for him But I was so proud of this man because he did not walk away from his child. And I think at times some men might think walking away from the child is a way to punish the woman for her betrayal. But at the end of the day, the person you're hurting is the child.
Well, again, it's called collateral damage, right? This woman, while you're punishing her, you don't mean to punish the kid, but I mean, what do you get? You got to stand on something, right? Yeah. And it's not my fault the kid got caught up in this. It's the mom's fault for lying. And so blame her for the kid being abandoned by me, not me. I'm not the one that made the mistake. I got to pick up the pieces of my heart and my sanity. And so essentially, you're blaming me for a problem that I didn't create. That's foul.
And I can't help but wonder, won't you be traumatized as a person walking away from someone that you've bonded with?
He's already traumatized of being lied to. That's the first part you should be dealing with.
That you've loved? For the man, isn't that traumatic? I mean, I really do not understand. I just cannot relate. And once again, I'm not a man. I'm sensitive to the hurt, to the pain, to the betrayal.
Yeah.
But is it right to walk away from a child you've bonded with simply because the DNA test shows that you're not the biological father?
Yep.
Food for thought. Talk to you later.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Ain't no fucking way.
So she's asking the question while at the same time answering what she would do. Okay? Well, I don't see how you could do it, but I'm not a man, so I wouldn't understand, but I wouldn't do it. And I don't see how any other man could do it. This is the sentiment of, I would say, 98% of women out there that's asked this question about paternity fraud. Well, what should the guy do about the kid? Most women are going to say he should stay and take care of it because he's already taking care of the kid, or the kid loves him, and he's already been financially there. He's already been there and blah, blah. So he should just keep doing it. Damn the lie. Damn his own personal heartbreak about the situation. Just push through it. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps and just deal with it and keep on. Yeah. But y'all see it, okay? That's her answer. And with that being said, thank you for attending another episode of the Working Man Podcast. I am your host, Nicholas J. Fury. Let me know, man, what would you do if you were a victim of paternity fraud? Would you leave the kid or not? And tell me why. All right? And as always, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell on your way out of the door. And men and this lady right here, please understand, reality checks are free. See you next time.